I still remember the exact moment my marriage died. Not the divorce that came later. The death happened over burnt lasagna on a Tuesday night. "You're too stupid to own a business, Maya." David didn't even look up from his phone when he said it. Just kept scrolling through his emails. His fork scraping against the plate like nails on a chalkboard. We'd been married for 8 years, and I'd heard variations of this before, but never so blunt, never so final. "I was just thinking," I started. "That's the problem. You thinking." He finally glanced up. His eyes cold behind his designer glasses. "You can barely manage the household budget. You want to play entrepreneur. Stick to what you're good at, sweetheart. Looking pretty and keeping the house clean." My cheeks burned. I'd brought up the idea of starting an online consulting business during dinner, excited about a webinar I'd watched. I had a degree in business administration that I'd never used. Staying home after our daughter was born. Emily was 7 now, in school full-time, and the empty hours were suffocating me. "I have a degree. From a state school. A decade ago." David stood, leaving his half-eaten dinner. "I'm the one with the MBA from Wharton. I'm the one who built a 6-figure career. Don't embarrass yourself." He walked away and I sat there, staring at the lasagna I'd spent 2 hours making, feeling smaller than I ever had. The worst part. A tiny voice in my head wondered if he was right. The next morning, David left early for his job as a senior project manager at a tech firm. He didn't say goodbye. I went through my routine mechanically. Making Emily breakfast, packing her lunch, walking her to the bus stop. "Mommy, why do you look sad?" Emily asked, her small hand in mine. "I'm not sad, baby. Just tired. Daddy was loud last night." My stomach twisted. "You heard that?" She nodded, her dark curls bouncing. "He's always loud when he talks to you." I forced a smile. "Grown-ups just disagree sometimes. It's okay." But it wasn't okay. And my 7-year-old could see it. After she left, I cleaned the kitchen, folded laundry, organized closets. Anything to stop thinking. By noon, I was sitting at the kitchen table with my laptop, staring at the webinar website again. The course was about digital consulting, helping small businesses improve their operations remotely. The cost was $500. We had the money. David made $180,000 a year. But I'd need to ask permission to spend our money, even though I hadn't bought anything for myself in months. The last time I'd purchased new clothes, he'd reviewed the bank statement like an IRS audit. Closed the laptop. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was stupid to think I could do this. 3 days later, I was putting away David's laundry when I found the receipt. It fell out of his gym bag. A restaurant I didn't recognize, dated last Tuesday. The same night he'd called me stupid. The total was $347. For one person. I checked the itemized list. 2 entrees. 2 desserts. A bottle of wine that cost more than our weekly grocery budget. My hands started shaking. David never took me to expensive restaurants. He said they were a waste of money. But apparently, they weren't a waste when he was with someone else. I sat on our bedroom floor, that receipt in my trembling hands, and something inside me cracked. Not my heart, that had been breaking slowly for years. Something deeper. Something that had been holding me together. I didn't confront him that night. Or the next. Instead I started watching. Really watching. It took 2 weeks to confirm what I already knew. Late-night work meetings. Weekend golf trips, where he came home without a tan. Text messages he'd angle away from me. His jaw tight. Her name was Amber. I found out from a credit card statement he'd carelessly left in his car. A hotel charge with 2 key cards on the folio. I called the hotel, pretending to be confirming a reservation, and the clerk cheerfully told me the room had been booked under David and Amber Chen. Amber Chen. I looked her up on LinkedIn. 28 years old. Project coordinator at David's company. Pretty young, ambitious. Everything I'd stopped being. I should have been devastated. Instead, I felt something unexpected, clarity. For 8 years I'd made myself smaller. Put my dreams away. I'd ask permission to exist. And for what? For a man who thought so little of me that he didn't even bother to hide his affair well. That night, I enrolled in the webinar course. I used our joint credit card. I didn't ask permission. The course was intensive. 6 weeks of video lessons, assignments, and live coaching calls. I worked on it every day while Emily was at school and David was at work. Or with Amber. I learned about market research, client acquisition, pricing strategies, digital marketing. My instructor, Patricia, was a 50-something woman who'd built $1 million consulting firm from her kitchen table. She was tough, brilliant, and didn't tolerate excuses. "You've got something most people starting out don't," she told me during an office hours call. "You're hungry. And hunger beats talent every time." I was hungry. Starving, actually. For purpose. For respect. For proof that I was more than David's decoration. I started waking up at 5 a.m. to study before Emily woke up. I took notes in notebooks I hid in my dresser. When David asked what I was doing on my laptop, I said I was planning menus or shopping online. He never looked closer. By week 4, I'd completed my first mock client proposal. Patricia gave me an A- and told me I was ready to find my first real client. I found her in a Facebook group for small business owners. A woman named Jessica who ran a handmade jewelry business out of her garage. She was overwhelmed, disorganized, and losing money despite having plenty of orders. I offered her a free 1-hour consultation. During our video call, I identified 15 operational inefficiencies in her system. By the end of the hour, she was crying with relief. "Can you help me fix this?" she asked. "I'll pay you. I don't have much, but $500 for a complete operational audit and implementation plan," I said, my heart pounding. "Delivered in 2 weeks." She agreed immediately. I worked on Jessica's project every spare moment I had. I built her spreadsheets for inventory tracking, created vendor management systems, designed workflow processes. When I delivered the final package, she cried again. "This is incredible. You've saved my business." 2 days later, she referred me to 3 other small business owners. Suddenly, I had a waiting list. I opened a separate bank account at a different bank, one David didn't know about. Every payment went directly there. Within 3 months, I had 8 regular clients and had earned $12,000. David had no idea. He still thought I spent my days watching cooking shows and doing yoga. I bought new clothes, professional ones for video calls. I got my hair done at a real salon, not the discount place. When David complimented how I looked, I smiled and said I was taking better care of myself. "Good," he said. "You'd been letting yourself go." I wanted to throw my coffee in his face. Instead, I smiled wider and went to my home office, Emily's old playroom that I'd converted, where I had 3 client calls scheduled. By month 4, I was making more money than I'd ever made in my life. By month 6, I was earning $8,000 a month. My separate account had $35,000 in it. And David still had no idea his stupid wife was running a business. Patricia called me one evening, excited. "I've got a proposition for you. I'm launching a certification program for consultants. I want you to be my first graduate instructor. You'd teach other people your operations systems. I'm interested. What does it pay? 20% revenue share on all students you bring in and teach. Plus, it'll establish you as an authority. You could charge premium rates." I did the math. If I brought in even 20 students at $2,000 each, I'd make $8,000 for a 6-week course I'd teach once. Passive income on top of my consulting work. I'm in. There's one catch. You'd need to be public-facing. Website, social media, maybe some speaking engagements. Can you do that? I hesitated. Being public meant David would eventually find out. But I was making over 6 figures annually at this point. Had savings. I had proof I wasn't stupid. "Yes," I said. "I can do that." I launched my website on a Monday morning. Nothing fancy, just my photo, my services, client testimonials, and a blog where I shared business tips. I created LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook pages for my consulting brand, Maya Sterling Solutions. I didn't use my married name. I used my maiden name, Sterling. The name I'd given up when I married David, thinking I was building a partnership, building a life. Within 24 hours, I had 50 new followers on LinkedIn. Within a week, 3 new client inquiries. Within 2 weeks, someone from a business podcast reached out to interview me. I was becoming visible, and visibility meant risk. David still hadn't noticed. He was too busy with Amber, with his job, with his own life. We were roommates who occasionally had dinner together. He slept in the guest room now, claiming his back hurt. I didn't ask questions. 4 months after launching my public presence, I got an email from a journalist at a national business magazine. They were doing a feature on women building businesses from home, and someone had referred them to me. Would you be willing to be interviewed and photographed for the piece? The journalist asked. My hands shook as I typed my response. This was big, national exposure, the kind of thing that could explode my business. It was also the kind of thing David would definitely see. I thought about Emily, about the woman I wanted her to see me as, about the woman I wanted to be. I typed, yes, I'd be honored. The interview was scheduled for the following week. The magazine would hit stands in 6 weeks. I had time to prepare for the article and for David's reaction. The journalist, Rachel, was sharp and thorough. We talked for 2 hours about my journey, my business, my philosophy on operational systems. She asked about my background, my education, my family. Does your husband support your business? She asked. Paused, choosing my words carefully. My husband doesn't know the extent of my business success. We have complicated dynamics. Rachel leaned forward, interested. Tell me more about that. I told her a version of the truth, about being a stay-at-home mom who felt dismissed, who started a business in secret, who proved herself. I didn't mention the affair or the specific cruelty, but I was honest about feeling underestimated. That's a powerful story, Rachel said. Women will relate to this. The photographer arrived, and we did a shoot in my home office. Professional, confident, successful. I barely recognized myself in the photos. The weeks before the magazine came out were torture. I continued my work, continued my secret life, continued sharing the same space with a man who thought he knew me but had no idea who I'd become. One evening, David was home for dinner. A rare occurrence. Emily was chattering about her school play, and I was half listening while mentally reviewing a client proposal. Mom, you're not paying attention, Emily complained. Sorry, honey. I was just thinking about work. David looked up from his phone. What work? Froze. It had slipped out so naturally. I mean, thinking about the work I need to do around the house. He lost interest immediately. Right. Well, don't forget we have that charity gala next month. You'll need a new dress. Something classy. Try not to spend more than $500. The charity gala for his company. Where Amber would probably be. Where I'd have to smile and play the dutiful wife while everyone pretended not to know my husband was cheating on me. Actually, I said slowly, I'm not sure I can make it. I have a commitment that weekend. David's fork stopped halfway to his mouth. A commitment? Like what? A work commitment. Your work is here, Maya. Supporting me. This is important for my career. I met his eyes. And my commitments aren't important. What commitments could you possibly have? The magazine came out in 3 days. The article would be online in 2. Smiled. I guess you'll find out. The article went online on a Wednesday morning. By noon, my phone was exploding with notifications. Messages from old friends, former colleagues, even family members I hadn't talked to in years. The headline read, From Self-Doubt to Six Figures, How Maya Sterling Built a Consulting Empire in Secret. The article was beautiful. It told my story with dignity and power. It had my photo, professional, confident, successful. It detailed my business growth, my teaching platform, my client success stories. It mentioned that I'd done all this while managing a household and raising a daughter. It was trending on the magazine's website by 2 p.m. David was in meetings all day. He hadn't seen it yet, but it was only a matter of time. I picked Emily up from school, my phone still buzzing in my purse. At home, I made her a snack and helped with her homework, functioning on autopilot while my heart raced. David came home at 7 p.m. Later than usual, but not suspiciously so. He walked in, threw his briefcase on the counter, and headed straight for me. His face was red. His jaw was clenched. His phone was in his hand. "What the hell is this?" David thrust his phone in my face. The article was pulled up, my photo staring back at me. "Care to explain?" His voice was dangerously quiet. Emily was upstairs. Kept my voice calm. "I started a business. I've been running it successfully for over a year." "A business?" He said it like I'd confessed to a crime. Behind my back. I didn't think I needed permission. "Permission?" His laugh was harsh. "You used our money. I used $500 of our money. I've since earned over $120,000. All of which is in my own account." The color drained from his face. "What?" "I make about $10,000 a month now. More with my teaching income. I'm quite successful, actually. For someone who's too stupid to own a business." David's mouth opened and closed. For once, he had nothing to say. "How long?" he finally asked. "I enrolled in the course the night after you called me stupid. I got my first client 4 weeks later. I've been building this ever since." "You lied to me." The audacity of that statement made me laugh. Actually laugh. "I lied. That's rich, David. Really rich." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I know about Amber." David went completely still. "I don't know what you're." "Amber Chen, project coordinator, 28. You've been seeing her for at least 6 months, probably longer. Hotels, expensive dinners, weekend getaways. Should I continue?" He sank into a chair, his face gray. "Maya, save it. I don't actually care anymore." "You don't care?" He looked genuinely confused. "No, because while you were busy with your affair, thinking I was just your stupid little housewife, I was building something real. Something mine. Something you can't touch. This is insane. You've been lying for over a year. And you've been lying for how long? But that's different, right? Because you're the important one. The smart one. The one whose career matters." Emily's voice came from the stairs. "Why are you yelling?" We both froze. I hadn't heard her come down. Her eyes were wide, frightened. "Emily, go back upstairs," David said. "No," I said firmly. "Emily, come here." She ran to me and I hugged her tight. Over her head I looked at David. "I want a divorce." David moved out 3 days later. He went to a hotel, maybe the same one he'd taken Amber to. I didn't ask. Emily cried the first night he was gone. I held her and told her it wasn't her fault, that sometimes grown-ups can't stay married, that we both still loved her. All the things you're supposed to say, even when your own heart is complicated. The truth was I felt lighter, free. Like I'd been holding my breath for 8 years and could finally exhale. My phone kept ringing. Clients, journalists, people from the magazine article wanting to connect. Patricia called to tell me enrollments in my certification program had tripled since the article came out. "You're going viral," she said, laughing. "How does it feel?" "Surreal. Get used to it. You're a success story now." I hired a divorce lawyer, a woman named Catherine who came highly recommended. When I told her my financial situation, she smiled. "You did this exactly right. Separate account, documented income, clear business records. He's going to have a very hard time claiming any of this." "Good. Though I should warn you, he'll probably try to get alimony, given that you now out-earn him." I hadn't thought of that. Seriously? Seriously? How does that feel? I started laughing. I couldn't help it. David asking me for alimony. The man who'd called me stupid. The man who'd thought I couldn't manage a household budget. "Poetic," I said. David's lawyer sent a letter 2 weeks later. He wanted 50% of my business assets, claiming he'd supported me during our marriage, enabling my success. He also wanted alimony, $4,000 a month for 5 years. I read the letter twice, then called Catherine. "Let him try," she said. "Your business didn't exist during most of your marriage. You started it with minimal marital assets. And as for alimony, he makes $180,000 a year. He's having an affair. We have proof he disparaged your abilities. No judge will give him that. What will they give him? Probably nothing from your business. Maybe some small settlement from other marital assets, the house, savings, retirement accounts. But your business is yours." Relief flooded through me. "Okay. Good. Maya, you should countersue. For emotional distress, for his affair, for all of it. Thought about it. About dragging everything into the light. About making him pay for every cruel word, every dismissive comment, every time he'd made me feel small. No," I said finally. "I just want out. Clean and fast." "You're sure?" "I already got my revenge. Proved him wrong. That's enough." 2 months into the divorce proceedings, David called me. Not his lawyer, him directly. "We need to talk." "We have lawyers for that." "Maya, please. This is important." Something in his voice made me agree. We met at a coffee shop halfway between our places. He looked terrible, tired, thinner, older than his 35 years. "What do you want, David?" "I'm in trouble. Financial trouble." Waited. "I made some investments, bad ones, and with the divorce, my lawyer fees, I'm drowning. And you're telling me this because I need a loan. Just temporary. $50,000. I'll pay you back with interest." The audacity took my breath away. "You want me to loan you money? You have it. Your business is doing well. My business that I'm too stupid to run." He had the grace to look ashamed. "I was wrong. I know that now. What you've built is incredible. And yet you're still trying to take half of it in the divorce." "That's my lawyer." I told him to drop that. "I'll sign whatever you want. Just please, Maya. I'm desperate." I studied him across the table. This man who'd once made me feel worthless. Who'd cheated on me. Who'd dismissed every dream I'd ever shared. "No," I said quietly. "Maya, you made me feel small for years. You told me I was stupid, incapable, worthless. You cheated on me. And now you want me to save you. I'm begging you. And I'm saying no. You'll figure it out. You're smart, remember. Wharton MBA. 6-figure career. You don't need help from someone too stupid to own a business." I stood to leave. "I'm sorry," he said. "For everything. I was wrong about you." "Yes," I agreed. "You were." 3 weeks later, David called again. I almost didn't answer. "What now?" "Please. Just dinner. To discuss final divorce terms. Neutral territory. 1 hour." Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a mid-range restaurant. Not fancy, not cheap. David was already there, looking nervous. We ordered. Made awkward small talk about Emily. Discussed custody arrangements. We'd agreed on 50-50, which was fine. Then David took a breath. "I'm dropping all financial claims against your business. I'm not asking for alimony. I just want to split the house and retirement accounts fairly and move on." "Okay. Why?" "Because I was petty and angry. And you were right. I don't deserve a cent of what you built. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I just felt tired." "Okay. I'll tell Catherine to draw up papers. There's one more thing." Course there was. "What?" "Amber left me. She said I was too negative, too bitter. Said she didn't sign up for a broke, divorced guy." I tried to feel sympathy. I couldn't find any. "I'm sorry to hear that." "Are you?" "Not really." He laughed, a broken sound. "Fair enough." His phone rang. He glanced at it, frowned, answered. "Hello. Yes, this is David Morrison." His face went white. His fork clattered to his plate. What? When? How much? I watched him, curious despite myself. That's impossible. I don't. Yes, I understand. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Yes. He hung up, his hand shaking. David. What's wrong? That was my bank. There's a problem with my accounts. A big problem. David's face was ashen. They found irregularities in my accounts. Large, unexplained deposits and withdrawals over the past year. My stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means they think I'm involved in something illegal. Money laundering, maybe. They've frozen all my accounts pending investigation. Are you involved in something illegal? No. I don't know where this is coming from. I need to go to the bank tomorrow with my financial records. But Maya, if I can't access my money, I can't pay rent, can't pay my lawyer, can't pay for anything. I should have felt satisfied, vindicated. Instead, I felt sick. What are you going to do? I don't know. Hey, God, I don't know. We finished dinner in silence. When the check came, David reached for it automatically, then remembered. Paid. Outside the restaurant, he turned to me. I know I have no right to ask, but don't. I'm desperate, Maya. Figure it out, David. You're smart, remember. I drove home, my hands tight on the wheel. When I got there, Emily was already asleep, the babysitter reading on the couch. I paid her, locked up, and sat in the dark living room. My phone buzzed. A text from Catherine. David's lawyer just filed paperwork to expedite the divorce. All financial claims dropped. Looks like you got what you wanted. I should have felt victorious. One. David had lost everything. His affair, his pride, his money, and now apparently his financial stability. So why did I feel so empty? The next few weeks were chaos. David's bank investigation expanded. It turned out someone had been using his identity to funnel money through cryptocurrency accounts. The FBI got involved. David was technically a victim, but proving it was complicated and expensive. He lost his job. The company couldn't keep him on during a federal investigation. He lost his apartment. Couldn't make rent. He ended up moving in with his brother an hour away. Emily was confused and scared. Is Daddy in trouble? Daddy's going through a hard time. But he didn't do anything wrong. Are you sure? I wasn't. I didn't know what to believe anymore. But Emily didn't need my doubts. My business was exploding. The article had generated so much attention that I'd hired 2 virtual assistants and was turning away clients. Patricia offered me a partnership in her training company. I was making $25,000 a month. I should have been celebrating. Instead, I kept thinking about David's face when the bank called. The fear in his eyes. 6 weeks after the bank call, Catherine called me. The divorce is finalized. House goes to you, he keeps his retirement account. Clean split otherwise. You're free. Thank you. Maya. You okay? You don't sound happy. I am. It's a lot. It is. Take some time for yourself. You've earned it. I hung up and looked around my house. My house now. The place I'd built a business, raised a daughter, survived a terrible marriage. The place I'd discovered I was stronger than I thought. My phone rang again. David. Hey. Catherine probably told you we're done. It's official. Yeah, he told me. Congratulations. Maya, I need to tell you something. David, if this is about money. It's not. I need you to know I'm grateful. For not countersuing. For not dragging everything through court. You could have destroyed me worse than I already am. I didn't want revenge, David. I just wanted respect. I know. And for what it's worth, I respect the hell out of what you built. I was wrong about everything. Yeah, you were. I'm going to be okay, by the way. The FBI is close to finding who actually did this. And I got a new job, smaller company, less money, but it's something. I'm rebuilding. Good. Emily needs her dad to be stable. She needs her mom more. She talks about you constantly. About how strong you are. How smart. She's proud of you, Maya. My eyes burned. I'm proud of me too. You should be. We hung up. I sat there in my house with my business and my daughter and my hard-won freedom. And finally I felt it. Victory. I stood on stage at a women's business conference, looking out at 500 faces. 6 months ago I'd been a secret entrepreneur. Now I was a keynote speaker. When my husband told me I was too stupid to own a business, I said into the microphone, I believed him. For about 24 hours. Then I got angry. And anger, channeled correctly, is an incredible motivator. The audience laughed. I started my business in secret because I didn't believe in myself enough to do it publicly. But here's what I learned. You don't need anyone's permission to build your dreams. Not your spouse's, not your parents', not society's. You just need courage. And stubbornness. And a willingness to prove everyone wrong. Applause filled the room. After my speech, dozens of women lined up to talk to me. They told me their stories. Husbands who dismissed them, families who doubted them, their own voices telling them they weren't enough. You gave me hope, one woman said, crying. I've been afraid to start my business for years. But if you could do it, maybe I can too. You can, I told her. You absolutely can. Emily adjusted to our new life remarkably well. She spent weekends with David at his new apartment. Modest but clean. He'd gotten better about spending time with her. Less distracted by work and affairs and his own ego. Dad says you're famous now, Emily said one night over dinner. Not famous. Just known in my field. He says he's proud of you. That surprised me. He said that. Yeah. He said he was dumb for not seeing how smart you were before. I didn't know what to say to that. David and I weren't friends, but we'd found a civil co-parenting rhythm. He paid child support on time. He showed up for Emily's events. He'd even apologized, really apologized, for the years of dismissiveness. People can change, I told Emily. Sometimes it takes losing things to appreciate what they had. Do you still love Daddy? I considered that. I love who he's becoming, but I'm not in love with him anymore. I'm happy on my own. Me too, Emily said. You smile more now. That night, after Emily went to bed, I sat in my office and looked at the vision board I'd created a year ago. Business goals, personal goals, dreams that had seemed impossible. I'd achieved almost all of them. I pulled out my journal and started a new list. Bigger goals. Speaking at more conferences. Writing a book. Maybe even starting a podcast. Expanding my teaching platform globally. I wasn't done dreaming. I was just getting started. 1 year after the divorce, I got an email from the magazine that had first featured me. They wanted to do a follow-up story. Where is she now type of piece. Rachel, the journalist, called me. Your story resonated with so many people. We've gotten thousands of messages asking about you. How you're doing. If you're still running your business. I am. It's bigger than ever. I'd love to do a follow-up. Maybe bring David in too. Get his perspective. I hesitated. Let me think about it. Called David. We met at a park near his apartment. Neutral ground. They want to interview both of us. About the past year. Our perspectives on what happened. David was quiet for a long time. What do you think? I think it could be powerful. Showing that people can grow. That mistakes don't have to define you. I made a lot of mistakes, Maya. Yes, but you're doing better now. You're being a good father. You've apologized. That counts for something. Would you talk about the affair? Only if you're comfortable with it. But I think honesty matters. Other people are living our story right now. Maybe our transparency could help them. David nodded slowly. Okay, I'll do it. On one condition. What? That I get to say publicly what I should have said years ago. That you're brilliant. That what you built is extraordinary. That I was a complete idiot. Smiled. Deal. The article came out 2 months later. It was titled The Redemption. How a broken marriage led to 2 people finding themselves. It went viral. Again. But this time I barely paid attention to the notifications and the messages. I was too busy living my life, raising Emily, running my business, teaching other women to find their voices. One evening, I was making dinner when Emily came in with her school project. "We had to write about our hero," she said. "I wrote about you." I read her essay, tears streaming down my face. She'd written about how I'd been brave, how I'd proven that women could do anything, how she wanted to be like me when she grew up. "This is beautiful, honey. It's true. You're the strongest person I know." I hugged her tight, thinking about the woman I'd been a year ago. Scared, uncertain. I wasn't her anymore. I was Maya Sterling, business owner, teacher, mother, survivor. And I was enough. I'd always been enough. I just had to prove it to myself. This story shows that the best revenge isn't destruction. It's transformation. It's proving to yourself that you're capable of more than anyone ever believed. Maya didn't need David's approval or validation. She found it within herself. And that's the most powerful revenge of all. Becoming the person you were always meant to be, and never looking back.